to all the critics. So this is our third location. I feel like we're building momentum, but we have so much more to see. Let's keep moving. After that Parma, it is time to switch up our proteins. We are moving from land animals to fish from down under the sea. Behind me, a fish and chip shop. I know what you're thinking. Wait, isn't fish and chips British food? Well, it is. It started there, but then it moved here and they made it better, I hope. Let's go inside and see how they're making fish and chips in Melbourne.
Welcome to Carlisle Seafood, opened in 1907. It's the oldest fish and chip shop in all of Melbourne. 21 years ago, it was taken over by a Lebanese family. But even though the owners have changed, they've kept the original recipes, the classic architecture, and the long-standing traditions alive.
Boom, I am in the kitchen right now with Hannah. You're originally from Lebanon.
Yes.
For you, how would you define Australian food?
It's literally impossible to explain Australian food because there's like so many cultures and so many things.
So let's get into the fish and chips. Tell me, what is the difference between British fish and chips here in Australia?
Well, over here, we use gummy shark. That's everyone's go-to. In Britain, they serve fish and chips with mushy peas, gravy. Over here, we just sell fish with chips and a salad.
So two big differences. I mean, the type of fish is huge. Why are folks here using the gummy shark?
It's the least fishiest taste. It's the cleanest and it's really tasty.
Amazing. Let's get into some cooking. So right now I am with Hannah's father. This is Jimmy, and Jimmy has some fish right here. So this is the gummy shark. This is a fish I'm going to be trying shortly.
First, Jimmy starts by filleting the gummy shark, cutting it into thin slices. Then he dips each piece into their homemade batter and drops it into the fryer.
Jimmy tells me these are the crunchiest fish and chips in all the land.
Next, Jimmy prepares the potato cakes, thin slices of potato coated in batter. Together with the French fries, he lowers it into the oil.
At last, we have our fish and also chips all together in one fryer.
Alongside the gummy shark, I'll also be trying their barramundi fish and chips.
All right, so right here we have our chips and potato cakes. He's gonna throw some into each of these boxes right here. He's gonna hit them with a little bit of salt, then the flake, hit that with even more salt, and a couple lemons on the side. Over here we have the barramundi that's just come out of the hot oil, and that's gonna get thrown on top of those chips. Hit it with a little bit of salt.
And that's how we make our fish and chips at Carlisle Seafoods.
All right, folks, meal 4 here in Australia. When I see fish and chips, I think this is like the ultimate comfort food. It's like, are you happy? Eat fish and chips. Are you sad? Eat fish and chips. Did you just gamble away your family's life savings? Eat fish and chips. Almost any scenario you can think of, fish and chips should follow.
Sponsored by Fish and Chips.
What's really interesting about eating this is they're using shark. I've eaten shark plenty of times before, but I've eaten it in dishes that were a little bit more rare. But here, what they call flake, it's what they're using all the time for fish and chips. Beyond that, it's also about this right here. These are big fat chips like I've seen in London. Let's give one of these chips a try. That's pretty good. This is the best version of British chips I've ever tried in my life. It's actually crunchy on the outside, and then it's like mashed potatoes on the inside. This is really impressive, but that is just our first potato option of 2. Right here, we have the potato cake. So it's essentially like a big flat French fry. Let's give it a try. Very cakey. It's almost like a gigantic steamy potato chip. It's got a ton of crunch on the outside. Then on the inside, it's so satisfyingly steamy. This is really excellent. All right, let's get to the reason we're here. The gummy shark. They say it lacks bones. It doesn't even have teeth. That sounds perfect. Oh my Lord, that looks nice. Let's go. I love how crunchy it is. So oily, so crunchy, so satisfying. The fish itself is not mushy, it is flaky. That said, he's really pushing the fact that kids like this because it's a very neutral taste. I gotta say, it's true. You can tell that the protein is there. You can taste that nice crunch, but the fish, no real flavor. So I wanna give it a bit of a dip in here. Let's give it a shot. I'm in love. It's so crunchy, and then it's the perfect vehicle for that tartar sauce. You put it all together, absolutely delicious. But then we have this. This is a fish known as a barramundi, a very common fish off the coast of Australia. The barramundi, he said, it's gonna have a lot more of a fishy flavor. It's gonna be a little bit more potent, but again, this is something you're not gonna find in the UK. When I was in London, you could get cod, halibut, and that was about it. If you're making fish and chips with a completely different fish, it's gonna be a completely different experience.